Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, girls. Welcome back to the Queen Mentality podcast. Today we have one of my closest friends, Sister Naija.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. We're here today to...
We're here today to discuss our unpopular opinions.
Unpopular opinions.
It's hard to choose.
But with us, we can really yap about anything. Like, one thing about me and this girl, like, we will talk for hours, okay? Till the sun comes down, till the cows come home. What's that saying?
So the sun goes down till the cows come home till, I don't know, till the milk goes sour.
Literally till the milk is curdled in the fridge, girl. Like, we can talk. We have compiled some topics. We're just gonna be reading off the list.
All good vibes, all good vibes. We're not here to judge anybody or lifestyle, so, you know.
Yeah.
We have this expression, at least in English, where it's like, you know, what is it? Is if the shoe fits, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like,
if the shoe fits, wear it.
Or a hit dog hollers. Have you heard that one before?
No,
Yeah.
I opened the last video up with that. If the shoe fits, wear it.
If shoe doesn't fit, what's another one? If it don't apply, let it fly. That's the one I like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
If it don't apply, let it fly.
If it don't apply, let it fly. You know.
But it might apply to
it might apply. It might apply.
No shade.
So don't expose yourself. You want to go out the gate with the first one?
Shoot. We should start with the men are modest.
Okay.
Let's start with the male modesty.
Let's talk about men and modesty.
We are very big, like, women supporters on this channel. You guys already know I was a little hard on you last episode, okay? But what our first unpopular opinion is going to be about men and the way that, you know, men may struggle with modesty, the whole concept of it.
And it's not talked about enough.
It's not
talked about enough because men and women can struggle with modesty, but women, we unfairly kind of get the brunt of the burden of modesty. Even though with men, we want to say that it's just as important, in my opinion, if not more, right? Because a lot appointed men as, you know, authority figures, right? You know, they're leaders in society and so forth. So if our leaders in our society are not modest, they're not behaving modestly, they're not promoting modesty among each other, what's that going to be to the followers? You know?
Yeah.
So let's get into it a little bit. Let's get into it. What are some characteristics that men are lacking when it comes to modesty?
Maybe shyness, haya. The other day, there was a video that came on my For You page on YouTube, and it was a male imam. I don't even know if he has that credibility. If he does, yikes. But he was talking about, like, a woman's voice and, like, what it incites or something like that, or like how a female feels pleasure. It was some disturbing topic, and he was like, it was very disturbing to hear him talk about it. I could only make it through about 2 minutes of the video. If I find it again, because I left a hate comment on it, so if someone likes my comment, I'll try to find it. I'll insert a picture of it here if I can find it. But it was so disturbing. And I was just like, as a man, have some haya, have some modesty. Why are you talking about this on YouTube?
And the thing is, they've developed this culture where they don't realize that they're kind of exposing themselves in a way.
For
you know what I mean? Because believe it or not, and this is to any men who are watching, all the ladies know, but believe it or not, we actually are able to walk out in this world, go home, go to work, go to school, and we're genuinely not trying to attract men, right? You know, I work a job where I work from home and I have to call people on the phone and stuff like this. And I have had incidents of, you know, men trying to flirt with me, and I'm really on the phone doing my job. You know what I mean? I'm doing my job. I have no intentions of, you know what I mean, trying to seduce this man or anything like this. Like, it's just to do my job. But it's gotten to that point where, like you said, they're lacking haya, right? And in my opinion, they have these impure thoughts and no accountability. You know, because the minute that you call them out on it, especially when it comes to Muslim men, they're the hardest. When you call them out on it, they'll find a way to turn it on us. You know what I mean?
Ew,
you know, and
gaslighting.
Exactly. And I've heard, like, for example, and I know that hate comment that you left, it's gonna have another thread of, like, angry men probably finding a way to blame women for just the voices that we have. You know, never minding the fact that we can just simplify things down to basic biology. Women, we don't have as much testosterone as men. You know what I mean? So naturally our voices are going to be more high pitched, right? They are going to sound like this. They're going to sound a bit softer. And that's not always something intentional, you know?
Right. Like, we are not going to seduce you by literally just being
by
ourselves.
existing, you know?
Okay, girl.
By existing.
And I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this. I think I talked about it in my last video, but like even when you're wearing niqab, even when we're taking every single precaution to not be approached or hit on by men or sexualized, men will still do it.
They'll still do it.
They will still holler at us. Like,
I remember they hit on you while you're pregnant.
They hit on me while I'm pregnant. They hit on me when I was at the basketball game.
It's very obvious
with
that you're married, you're pregnant, you know, and still.
Who was that? I'll edit this out.
You had on a full abaya.
Oh, at Dewan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that was traumatizing. I think I blocked that out of my memory. Ew. No, it happened so many more times of that too. I don't know. Maybe it's the pregnancy glow. They just caught on to it.
But here's what makes this an unpopular opinion that I want more people to kind of pay attention to, is that it's exposing men and their impure thoughts. You know what I mean? Ideally, as Muslims, we're supposed to think the best in one another, etc., etc., etc. But when a man is getting so nitpicky about a woman's dress, even though objectively to most people this is modest, even when, let's say, for example, getting nitpicky about her voice, even though to most people this is her regular speaking voice, is how she is, you know what I mean? And we have someone in here saying like this is sexualized and like, you know, they're trying to make it seem wrong and etc., 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 and going into detail like you said the imam was doing and stuff like that. He's exposing himself, right?
Exactly.
He's exposing that he's having impure thoughts and he doesn't know how to control them.
Exactly.
You know? So that's the unpopular opinion on all this. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be unpopular. This is a conversation that needs to be had and addressed in order so that way we can progress, because the solution, women are never going to stop being women. We're always going to have softer voices, you know, we're always
going to be gorgeous.
Exactly. You know, we're always going to be this way. But however, we need, what solutions are men coming up with to be able to
lower their gaze?
Exactly. I was going to say coexist with women, you know,
right,
like this understanding like this is just how women are, but this is how God literally created women.
Yeah.
You know, it gets to a point where we do the best we can. What's the best you can do?
Right,
you know?
And it's like not viewing us through an over-sexualized lens. And ladies, this is a huge red flag to look out for. If you're with a man and he seems to nitpick everything you do, the way you talk, the way you dress, even if you're being modest, if you're taking every precaution you can, if he is still looking at everything you do through an extremely sexual lens, he's probably addicted to online videos, if you know what I mean. He's been
exposed to too much.
Yeah, his brain is probably like literally rotted from all of the stuff that he consumes online.
They need recovery programs for that.
They really do. And it's like, it's really sad. Like, there really is like a war on men. Like, I feel like they try to push the over sexualized stuff. And that's a whole other topic that we have too. Like, everything nowadays is so over sexualized, and I've talked about this on here before, but like I feel like men are constantly bombarded with like sexualization of women to the point where they can't even look at us regularly anymore. Like all they can see is, you know, that.
But that's their war, that's their jihad.
It is, and it's sad, and it's like it takes a lot of prayer, but like you were saying earlier, it takes a lot of purification of like your intentions, your mind, your soul. And it's like you can tell the energy of a man when you go around a man and he has a pure soul and he has pure intentions. And you can tell when he's not looking at you through that lens. But we can also tell when a man is. Like we can read men to filth. Like I don't think men realize that. Women are very psychic. Like we know what you're thinking. We know the type of energy you're coming with. We can literally look at your face and tell everything you've ever done in your life.
Especially when they get called out for it too and be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you guys
I was just trying to be nice, you know, because that's what happened when I was working like as like the phone agent somewhere. But I'm like, excuse me, like I was just trying to be nice. I'm like, you're trying to be nice, really? Like I know what being nice looks like,
right.
You know.
Please save it.
Yeah,
save it for the birds.
Save it. I always go through the checklist, especially when it comes to me, because we're niqabis, so we're kind of held to a higher standard when it comes to modesty and stuff like this. But my checklist is to keep myself in check. I mean, you know, because every now and again, some men are right. There are some, you know, Muslim ladies out there doing a little bit too much, right? Completely agree with you on that. But something I used to kind of keep myself in check, because my intentions are to be a modest Muslim lady, right? My intentions are always to continue to better myself. Something that I use to kind of keep myself in check is I don't listen to just one person's opinion. So what I mean by that, if let's say, for example, they're like, you know, Dower Brothers, Iman, stuff like this on Instagram, you know, TikTok, all this stuff like this, talking all this, I shouldn't say crap, you know, have a lot to say about hijab, the conditions of hijab, etc., etc., etc. Well, let me see what people are saying at my local masjid that I go to, right? You know, are people constantly correcting me, telling me that my hijab is not correct at the mosque? You know, what about around my friends, family, and stuff like this? Are they constantly correcting me, telling me, oh, sister, your hijab is not this, or this isn't modest, etc., etc., etc.? Their opinions in my mind matter more because I see them on a regular basis. Especially if, for example, you're a type of person who has a good relationship with your local masjid community, their opinions are going to matter the most because they're the ones who see you on a regular basis, right? And those are people, family, friends, these are people who care about you. They want you to be on the right path. So ideally, they're going to give me good advice. And if they're not correcting me constantly about hijab, telling me, oh, fix this, you know, like, oh, sister, this isn't right, etc., 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 I'm probably doing okay. You know? I
can't relate. They be nitpicking me.
They nitpick you?
Real bad.
No, we don't.
Listen, I'm gadded up. I'm a reaver. They tell me all sorts of things. People are always trying to come correct me.
Oh, my poor baby.
I remember that. I remember the first time I ever led a prayer for women. Like, this lady came up to me and she, like, took my hijab and put it over my neck. She's like, your neck is showing.
All right.
And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was Muslim for 2.5 years. No one ever told me your neck, like one piece of your neck couldn't be showing. And that's happened to me twice at the masjid while I was in prayer.
Yeah, that actually goes on to our next topic. People being a little bit too hard on reverts. Not even just reverts, just like women in general who are new to modesty. You know, we could be a little softer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because particularly, I'm going to address reverts because I'm a revert myself, right? So this is me coming from a mindset. I used to think those mini dresses, all that stuff like this, the cute mini skirts, tight jeans, all that stuff like that was really freaking cute. Yeah, you know, like we grew up like in the 2010s where like skinny jeans were it.
Yeah.
Remember that? And skinny jeans were considered modest. Like that's dress code approved. So we're it wasn't showing?
Just a little bit.
Okay, just a little bit. See?
It's fine.
You're fine.
Bro, it's whatever. It's a neck.
Exactly. You're fine. And it's
just
just
all calm down.
It's just neck. That's the thing.
It's just neck. That's what neck. He
said. That's getting edited out. Naughty.
It's not getting edited out.
He's like, oh, it's just neck.
Hey, listen, we have fun over here on the Queen Mentality podcast, okay?
I'm dead.
It's unserious.
I'm dead. But I was saying, like, you know, like, for example, like, our school dress code, you know, that's something most American, like, students, we have exposure to, like, our first interaction with modesty, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe growing up in church, right? So those shape our ideas of modesty, you know? So, for example, wearing skinny jeans and wearing, like, you know, what was it? Something we was really nitpicky we weren't allowed to wear in school. Tank tops, shoulders and stuff like this. So if I had like a top that, you know, was just long sleeve, who cares if it's tight? You know what I mean? It was still considered modest. Like we wouldn't get dress coded for it, anything like this.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yes, actually,
it's such a shock when, for example, and this is coming from mindsets of non-Muslims, right? You know. Back in the day, if I saw a Muslim woman just wearing skinny jeans, long shirt, you know, just put a hijab on, doesn't even matter if neck is showing or not, I knew that was a Muslim woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still consider her modest and I gave her full respect.
Yeah.
It's so weird entering the religion and seeing like, okay, that was not enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, when I first became Muslim, that's what I would wear. Like, I didn't even know how to do hijab. No one taught me anything. Like, I was in those pullover hijabs that kids wear.
No pin.
No, like the kid hijabs, the one piece hijabs as a grown woman. Okay, skinny jeans, getting the faja on with the tight shirt, walking around.
Because we thought it was modest.
I didn't know what was going on. I had no guidance.
Yeah,
nothing.
The way people were talking to us and advising us as if we're supposed to know better. But this is the world that we're coming from.
Oh my God, yeah. We have no idea, girl. It takes some time. So yeah, if you are a new Muslim, literally, like, I know I was so harsh in my last video, but we're actually touching on a lot of the topics that I talked about. But like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, it really does take time. Like, it took me 4 years to get this place. You've been a revert way longer than me. Like, it takes time to find your groove with modesty. It's awkward at first. I'm sure we both looked hideous when we first started, like, actually wearing modest clothing.
It just didn't match. It was
not hideous,
the vision was there.
Awkward.
The vision was there. It just didn't match. What was I doing? Okay, so I had niqab on the top, and then I had sandals at the bottom. Gloves. The thing where it was weird where I didn't match because I had gloves. Because I'm like, oh, let me just covering
up the hands but not the toes.
But I get 2 lessons out of that. One is, like, you know, to be gentle on reverts, you know, and any woman who's new to, like, modesty and hijab and stuff like this, just be mindful of the culture that they're coming from, the mindset that they're coming from, and these things take time. And secondly is also keep in mind how non-Muslims see us. You know, non-Muslims, they don't need all of that. You know what I mean? They don't need, you know, full khimar. They don't need, like, full burqa, eyes closed, all this stuff like this to identify a Muslim. You know what I mean? And isn't the first purpose of hijab, first and foremost, is so that we can be identified as Muslim?
Right.
You know? So just that's something to kind of keep in mind if you find yourself advising someone, as well as if you find yourself on the receiving end where someone is advising you. So I always like to look at things like two sides of the, you know, coin, you know?
Yeah, that's so interesting that you say that. It made me think of like how Christian people will be like, oh, this is like a modest outfit that I'm wearing, and it's like a tight, like, two-piece set, like your bottom legs are still showing, it's tight on the booty, like a, you know, like those business casual little two-piece. But it's like, when you think about it from like an Islamic perspective, it's like, absolutely not. We would never go in public like that. But then like a Christian person is like, oh, this is my modest outfit.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll wear that to a funeral.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Just, the difference in like modesty and like self-awareness that you get when you become Muslim, especially about showing your body and all that, it's very interesting. And I was, this was coming from like a super like traditional feminist, like I could wear whatever I want, my whole life.
Burn the bras,
yeah, no, for real, literally. Yeah, that's why I think it's crazy having people in my life see me being like what I was before and then what I am now. Like, I think it's so beautiful, and it's just like a testimony to Allah's power, truly.
It really is. It really does. It's so we don't just cover our head, you know what I mean? It changes our mindset.
Yeah, it's not just a hijab.
And I don't regret, I'll never, ever, ever regret dressing modestly. That's the thing. You know, I don't think there's anybody out there who regrets dressing modestly. There really is no downside. You know, I know some people concerned about, for example, being hot and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, just choose the right, fabrics, you know. I know some people are concerned about, let's say, for example, you live in an area that's unsafe for Muslims, etc., etc. Well, still find a way to dress modestly. You still won't regret it, you know?
Right. No, it feels so good, and we don't feel embarrassed.
It feels good. You feel secure.
Yeah.
You know?
Confident.
Weirdly, you feel less people judging you for your body.
True.
I know, part of we always complain about there's so many people judging us. Well, much rather they judge the clothes than the body,
right.
Because the body isn't something I can easily change. The clothes, okay, I can, mix and match, but the body, not so much,
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful perspective on it, subhanAllah.
Yeah, I know you feel the same way.
Yeah, no, it is beautiful.
Yeah, that's something that's always brought me up, because, I'm a niqabi too, but see, people will still get nitpicky about me showing this much wrist, even though it's not intentional. I've had these clothes for years, they've shrunken. I'm even wearing a top underneath, but I'm tall, so anytime I raise my arm, my wrist is going to show. It's inevitable.
God forbid a woman shows a wrist.
It's inevitable.
A piece of neck.
Yes, a piece of neck. So
my goodness.
All I'm just reminding is just we don't have to be that nitpicky, because at the end of the day, the clothes that I'm wearing, I can still wear this for prayer. The clothes that I'm wearing, if someone were to look at me, they still know that I'm Muslim, right? So we don't need to go to the deep end extreme, for example, be like, no, this is haram, blah, blah, blah. Not even just saying this is haram, be like, you're sinning, this is tabarruj, all this stuff like this. This is not how we, first and foremost, is not how we give dawah. And second of all, you're not going to get the outcome that you're thinking, because you're making this person feel like their best efforts are not good enough, Let's get back to the boys. So what's a characteristic, back to the question, what's a characteristic of modesty that men are lacking? So we've already gotten the impure minds. What else?
Yeah, perverted loser minds. Is this scandalous if my knee is showing?
No, you're fine.
I mean, I don't know.
I can't even see it because of the light. Okay. Is that knee? Is that elbow?
Who knows? Yeah, is it the chair? I don't know. Okay.
Is it chair? Is it foot?
Okay, so men.
Is it a tumor?
Oh my god, alhamdulillah.
Thank you, brother, for pointing out my tumor.
That's evil, subhanAllah. Okay, what else do men need to work on? Now I'm gonna run the question back to you. Okay, I said they're perverted little minds. What do you think?
I mean, you can go so far with perverted little minds, but something I want men to kind of work on. That debate that's happening right now about gyms, right? Because fitness is really in right now, so everyone wants to go to the gym, they want to get fit, etc., etc., etc. And how everyone's having a problem with Muslim women going to mixed gyms, etc., etc. Where's that outrage for men? Because you know what?
These women be looking like hoes in the gym. The gym is a strip club.
I'm talking about the non-Muslim sisters, right? I don't expect them to dress modestly. I'm not asking them to dress modestly. That's not my business. But why are men putting themselves in environments where women are wearing like short shorts and like
nothing.
What's the bra, the sports bra and stuff like this,
bras.
you know, working out and stuff like this, yet nobody says anything about it.
Right.
And the thing is, like, as a lady, ideally, if I'm looking for a husband or a trait I want in a husband, I don't want a man who puts themselves in environments like that. I really don't.
No, and the gym crushes, girl, I don't know what's going on. Whenever I was at the gym, I'm just in my own mind. Listen, I bring my travel prayer mat to the gym. I'm in my own world. But I do see the way that these girls dress, and I'm just like, girl, someone's grandpa is looking at your booty crack. Are you okay? Are you really okay? Like, do you realize there's multiple people in this gym that you probably don't want to show your goodies to? I don't know. Like, that's just, and that really always blows my mind at like how Allah can give us haya, and some people genuinely don't have that. Some people genuinely don't care that there's like 50 old men in the gym staring at your literal coochie brain. Like, that's crazy to me.
It's a different mindset, but I will say this is just me holding my fellow Muslims accountable. I don't think those are environments. I'm addressing this to my Muslim men. I don't think that's environments that I would want my future husband to be in. You know? Because it's for the same reasons they have for us, and they don't want us in like, you know, those type of environments. They don't want men to look at our bodies, and they know obviously with working out there's some positions that we have to take that compromise modesty. True. Well, I don't want you to be in an environment where there are women who are non-Muslim, so that means they're not following the same laws I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they are gonna do those things, and they are gonna dress in a certain way, and I don't want you to be in an environment where you have to be next to that. Right. You know? And this is just fact, like all the sexual harassment that happens in gyms, all this stuff like this, it's just not an Islamic environment. But yet weirdly, there is a man, he can post a video online of his workout routine at the gym. Right, he can do that, and there will not be a single comment on there, you know, saying, "Brother, you should go to an all-males gym." But yet, you know, a woman, she can like, you know, post like, you know, I mean, it can be very modest too. It can just be her simply running on the treadmill. You know what I mean? Right. And she can be fully covered. I've seen this, like fully covered, and I'm not just talking like, you know, like for example, like she's fully covered with tight, you know, workout clothes. Not like she has on hijab, everything's loose, you know, pretty reasonable. She's just running on the treadmill. Yet there'll be dozens of comments, you know, telling her, "Sister, you need to go to an all-men's gym. Men can see you, etc., etc., etc." I'm like, that's not fair, is it? And the thing is, at least the sister that I'm talking about in this scenario, she's dressed modestly. Right. That's why I mentioned like a fact that, you know, a lot of them when they go to the gym and they wear their workout clothes, they're not even covering their awrah. Yeah, you know? And like as a Muslim lady, for looking for a Muslim man, this isn't something that I overlook. And I feel like this is me holding my sisters accountable. Too much of us overlook that. You know, like think about like, you know, your spouse, your husband, like are those environments that you want him to be in? Is that a way you want him to be dressing? It's not. And it's not attractive. It's not attractive. It's not even worth it, you know? So how come men are not making more spaces for themselves, you know, particularly Muslim men, you know, because it's important.
There's a lot of men-only gyms. Like I feel like some of them are male-dominated for sure, like Crunch, I don't know, all the weird little like weightlifting, like bodybuilding gyms. But none of them are like male only, I feel like there's only like women only gyms. Exactly.
And the only reason we do that is out of safety.
Right. And honestly, like what you were saying, it does go both ways too. Like with a Muslim woman at a co-ed gym, there's men who take their shirts off, there's men who are bodybuilders, there's men who try to lock eyes with you when you're in the mirror trying to do your weights. Like these men really be coming after us like very heavily. And, you know, as a woman, you could have a struggle with your gaze at the gym too. You know, it's a bunch of men in there too, dressed all type of ways. So, hey.
I'm not covered yet. These are just not halal environments.
It's just not.
I shouldn't say halal. I shouldn't say that. That's pushing it. But these are just ideally not, you know ideally Islamic. I'll say that. Ideally Islamic environments.
Not a place that plays with your ability to lower your gaze.
Right? It's a big test. It's
kind of like the beach, but it's hard in the West. We live in America, so it's like every single place is like this. There's women dressed butt booty naked down the street, walking down the street,
you know,
going to Starbucks.
Summer
Listen, it's we live in a college town out here. It's 40 degrees and people are out here naked. Okay, they're going to the club.
Already? It just snowed last night.
Wallahi, 2 days ago, I was driving and I seen this girl in a sports bra and shorts.
Oh no.
Are you guys okay? Like, I don't know how they're surviving. I don't know. Maybe they're on like drugs. She
just trying to have a good time. What they say, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, but you forget the Akhirah's forever.
I mean, mind you, I'm addressing my non-Muslim counterparts here. I'm not addressing my Muslim girls. I give you guys the benefit of the doubt every time, but no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, sister.
Yeah.
There's nothing more attractive to me, in my opinion. There's nothing more attractive, a man can say to me than, like, for example, like, no, I don't want to go there. There's too many women there. You know?
Real.
That's really attractive. It's like, oh, I appreciate that you thought about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. There may not be spaces at this time where there are male-only gyms and stuff like this, but I appreciate men who go to male-dominated spaces. Like, for example, a boxing gym, right? So obviously a boxing gym, there's going to be a lot more men there. Maybe there might not be a single woman in there, to be honest. Because we, in Dearborn Heights, we actually have a boxing gym that's almost exclusively males only. And on the weekends, they hold exclusively female classes. So I think it kind of eliminates the temptation for women to join the regular one, because why would I? There's a weekend class anyway,
Right.
And to me, that's really attractive. It's like, okay, you go to the boxing gym, you work out with, men, all stuff like this, and then you go home, like,
it's a very
modesty
attractive.
Modesty in men is attractive.
Yeah, men who have self-control and
Yes.
discipline, men who know how to lower their gaze.
It's attractive.
It is.
It really is attractive. And I think us as ladies, we need to work a little bit harder to, kind of uplift those habits and stop being so desperate and looking past like stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have to. So for example, if we see all the women lusting after the man who doesn't have aura covered and stuff like this, he goes to the co-ed gyms, etc., etc. This places that he shouldn't be. You know what I mean? As a Muslim and stuff like this, you don't have to keep chasing that man. How about let's uplift the brothers who, for example, go to library, study, do that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's uplift those brothers. Let's show them some love. You know what I mean?
Right.
And let's stop going after the boys who have are following a bunch of Instagram models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We don't have to, because the more we continue to do that, the more they don't feel there's anything wrong.
Yeah, we have to keep our feet on their necks a little bit.
We hold all the power.
Exactly. So, we can have high standards, okay? You don't have to put up with all this stuff, because that in turn takes you out of your femininity. If you're constantly having to be in the masculine and leading a man to the right path, that's not your job, girl. It's his job to lead and be a good example. And it's if you're constantly having to tell someone what to do, and you have to be their mother or a guide for them, you're not in your feminine energy. You should be able to just vibe and he should be able to just make you happy. If he's constantly making you upset, you might need to pack it up, baby, because...
Ladies, this is for my Muslim ladies. You should not be carrying the brunt of spirituality in your marriage, your home, your family, nothing. You should not be carrying the brunt. It's not your responsibility. It's really not. So be very wise about the type of men you choose. You know what I mean? So what do they say? Don't ever marry a potential. So if he hangs out at hookah bars, if he's always talking to girls in the DMs, etc., 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 if you really want that man, here's my advice to you. If you really, really want that man, tell him hey, if you want to get married to me, you need to change this or it's not happening. Give him the ultimatum and then follow through. So if, let's say, for example, he stops for a little bit and, just to get you to come back, but he goes right back to it, leave again. Leave again. Leave. No, because otherwise they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn.
Real. Yeah.
Because why would he?
Yeah, men need consequences. I was just telling her this before we started the podcast. Men are like dogs, okay? They do something good, they get rewarded. They do something bad, they get a consequence. That's how they learn, unfortunately.
Real consequence, though, not bluffing.
Yeah, don't be oh my God, if you do this, I'm gonna leave, or I'm never gonna talk to you again, and then you go back. The more you show a man, right? Be firm in your boundaries, because the more you show a man he can cross your boundaries or he can disrespect you, the more he's going to. If you put your guard up and you remove yourself once he crosses a boundary, he's gonna know, okay, no, I can't do that to this person. I already told you girls about this. About holding your ground. Don't let people walk all over you. Come on, stand up. And listen, men always come back. I don't care how high of a pedestal you have a man on, he will always come back. And I don't know, I feel a lot of girls are just really insecure. You think that a man is out of your league, or you think that, oh my God, once I lose him, he's gone forever. But it's literally just your mindset. If you're a beautiful woman and you have something that makes a guy interested in you, you always will have that man wrap around your finger. I'm sorry, but men always come back, no matter what. You could do them so wrong and they'll still come back. So, you know, these men are not as hard to get as you may think.
You know, they're really
they're quite easy.
They're really not that
I
hard
fear.
to get. You know, that's how I feel when I watch those TLC shows. You know, like My 600-Pound Life. Those people in there, they have spouses, kids. What's that other show? Dr. Pimple Popper. You know, they have horrible, painful skin conditions. Yet here they are. They show their families like they've got a whole husband and kids. You know what I mean?
And girl,
like,
you cute. You think you can't get a man? You thirsting over that?
They are taken care of. You know. So there's no need to beat yourself down like that. There really is enough men to go around. There really is.
No, literally.
There really is.
And these men are not that like crazy, like honestly. And I feel like a lot of people like look up to celebrities and they think celebrities are like so cool. They're just regular people. Like honestly, like
celebrities don't have these problems. They don't. You know, like they get divorced and they get remarried just like that. You know, they don't have these problems.
People who are like attractive and know their worth don't have those problems.
Exactly. That's what it is. You know?
I feel like it's just people not knowing your worth, and like if you don't know your worth, nobody else is going to. So stand up.
That's actually advice that I had given older women, way older than me. And how ironic is this? I'm 20 years old giving advice to a woman who's almost 40. And I remember telling her, because mind you, she comes from a culture where divorce is taboo, right? And she's just feeling insecure about it. She hasn't even so much as tried to get married in years. And I remember, this is just my weird advice. I'm like, you know what? You know, singers and like celebrities, all this stuff, you know, they get divorced and remarried all the time pretty easily, you know? It doesn't seem to be taboo for rich people. That's what I said to her. Because isn't it true?
Not even rich people. I know like crackheads.
It doesn't even lower their, because like she comes from a mindset where like a divorced lady, it lowers her value. But I thought about it for a second. But you know what? There's a lot of celebrities that I look up to, lots of rich women I look up to, yet they probably get hundreds of, like, you know what I mean? Their value doesn't seem lowered at all.
No, unpopular opinion, divorce does not lower your value, and being a mother does not lower your value. If anything, that increases your value. Let's think about this.
They get remarried with kids too, by the way. That's important too. Like,
oh yeah, baby.
They be getting married with kids.
Listen, I would have no problems. I have 2 children. If I, for Allah forbid, had to go back into the world, I would have no problem. Okay, because listen, men are attracted to women who are mothers. We have skill sets that a lot of women don't have. We have a different sense of responsibility. We have a different sense of love. We have that mothering nature within us that allows us to have a bigger capacity to love, to feel compassion. Men find it really attractive to see women as mothers.
And you're smart too.
Yes, it gives you intelligence. Being a mother strengthens your intuition. You know, it's very attractive for a man to see a woman in her element, which is like being a mother. Also, let's think about how sexual of creatures men are, right? Let's just look at the facts here. If a woman has experience versus a woman without experience, who do you think would be able to satisfy a man better? And this is very taboo. I didn't think I would ever get into this, but like, I feel like a lot of people want to like shame women for having experience, but you're not shaming them when you're satisfied versus someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, like let's just be so real. I feel like men always want, you know, a pure woman and all this until she don't know, she's too pure to please you. Yeah. She doesn't know what's going on.
They get cheated on.
They get cheated on. The girls who are innocent and pure and don't know how to stand up, like that is the biggest scam of the century, is men have you thinking that they want a virgin, they want someone who's innocent, who doesn't talk back, who's submissive, who's all these things. Those girls always get cheated on. Yeah, those girls get ran over.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's so not fair, and it's
not true. Look at me yelling at the audience.
God, you are so right. But no, that's a whole other topic. You know, that gets me thinking about the industry and all that stuff like this. Because did you know less than 1%, this is just America, the less than 1% of American women do, but yet 80% of men consume it.
Yikes.
You know? But yet, who gets the biggest backlash, you know, for, or like, you know, who's afraid of their daughter becoming, I don't like using this word, you know, a W and all this stuff like this, you know, becoming a certain type of star and all this stuff like this? It's women. Yeah, no one's worried about their son, supporting this,
consuming it. I mean, I'm terrified. That stuff is disgusting. So, like, that's brain rot.
What you said earlier is like, like they never complain when they're satisfied. You know what I mean? They have all of the words to say about women doing the satisfied, who have the experience, etc., but like they don't complain when they're satisfied.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest epidemics. Like, I'm really glad we're touching on this, because that is one of the hugest problems here. Because I know they have it banned overseas. At least that's what like some people have told me. Like, it's banned on the internet there. I'm sure they can still find it. I don't know. But here it's not banned. It's a huge problem. Even like the over sexualized content online. But most people consume this content. And that's like a huge issue. Like, that messes with your brain so much. I don't think you guys realize how much watching that content skews your perception of reality, skews your perception of women, actually increases your violence towards women and objectification of women. It is so dangerous.
And it makes them feel bad about themselves and their bodies too, as well. It's just altogether like it's
evil. It's demonic.
The cons outweigh the pros.
For sure. There's no what is the pro?
The cons outweigh just the satisfaction.
That's not even satisfaction. Exactly. Like, honestly, it's disgusting. Like, if you've gotten used to that, that's disturbing. And like, that's actually a serious issue. Like, you need help. You need help.
You need help. You need help. And you need
I don't need help because I don't consume that content. Okay, baby. I will never sit up here and preach about something that is hypocritical.
Well, you know what? In my opinion, this is another unpopular opinion. There are two different types of porn, right? So there's the explicit type of porn. We have people on.
You can't say that on YouTube.
Oh, that's right. So with two types of corn. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that. So in my opinion, there are two types of corn.
Elote.
Right? So we have the explicit ones, which are websites dedicated for it, platforms dedicated for it, just seeing that type of content. And then we have, I shouldn't even say sneaky, because they're not even sneaky about it anymore.
Oh my God, the scenes.
So we have it, like, for example, on Instagram, TikTok, TV, commercials, music videos, you name it, where basically, remember how you mentioned earlier where we have like, half clothed women and stuff like this doing very lewd acts, and it's allowed to be it's allowed to be played on television.
No, I know.
It's I was watching a video before I came here about a guy talking about how beautification and stuff like this, it can't coexist with sexualization. And what he meant by this is, let's say, for example, I have a beautiful car, right? And I want to sell this beautiful car, right? What's the best way, if I'm greedy for attention and money and stuff like this, what's the most efficient, fastest way for me to get me to sell this beautiful car, right? Because that won't be enough, me telling people like, oh, this car is beautiful, blah, 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 it's not going to get sold as fast if, let's say, for example, I had a sexy lady, stand beside this car and stuff like this, you know what I mean? It's not going to get as much attention and stuff like this, right? Because in order for people to find the car beautiful and stuff like this, they have to fall in love with what the car can do.
Exactly.
They have to fall in love, with where the car is built. They have to fall in love with what like I said earlier, what the car can do, what it's made of, etc., etc., etc. But suddenly when you put the sexy lady in front of it, it's like suddenly the car becomes more valuable. Nothing about the car changed at all. Nothing about the car changed at all, but it was able to capture your attention because there's this beautiful, sexy lady in front of it.
Yeah. We are what makes them cool.
They don't realize when they're getting played. Because when you said earlier about the stuff like this, it's destroying them. Like, you don't realize you're getting played. You're getting played. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your energy, your mental health. You're ruining your future relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your brain.
Exactly.
Yourself, and also, releasing, you're giving up vital minerals and all that. That's why guys do retention, because that's what strengthens you mentally, spiritually, physically. You're not meant to be think about men years ago, like how our bodies are designed. Our bodies aren't designed to sit there just releasing. Yeah. Like, you are literally so humiliating. Seek help. Anyway, okay, but think about this though. Like, men have this idea of like masculinity and all this stuff, but you only feel special and cool if like you see a man who has like women who want him, or like women around him. Like, we are special.
I get ick.